Broadcast live.
Saucing things, see y'all playing catch up. Saucing things, see y'all playing. I wanna get high for.
What's up, everybody? My name is Spoken Priestess. I'm hanging out with Aewon Wolf on the red couch today. Super excited, so much to talk about. First of all, hi! This is kind of like one of my favorite artists.
Thank you.
Ever?
There's a lot.
Yeah, like I was never a fan because there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people that you come across in the industry and you hear the songs and you're like, oh, this is nice. This is a nice song, and you just. That's where it ends.
Yeah.
But with you, I've come to, when I listen to your music, and I've come to really connect. I'm like, I like this guy and the way he thinks, and I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So welcome to the red couch, and
it's good to be here.
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Are you fine?
I'm so great.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
We have so much to talk about. From your letter that you shared earlier this year.
Yeah.
Also before that, your tape, PSA, Proudly South African, that just blew me away, first of all.
Yeah.
Very deliberate in the message, very important in the message. You've been through so many different phases of sounds, I'd say, from when I started catching your stuff in 2016 to last year to now. You've been through so many phases of sound, so what is that?
That's just me being like naturally like me. With Aewon Wolf, like day one, especially original Aewon Wolf, it was like based on me just expressing my own like uniqueness in the sense that I've got so many different backgrounds. I've got so many different influences in my life, and they're not all the same. They're actually opposite ends of the world.
Yeah.
And like people don't understand that because when I go into a space, some people have been conditioned by the society or wherever they are to be a certain type of way, and then when I go to another space, they conditioned to be a certain type of way and not understand the other side, whereas I lived in all those different spaces. So it's like I always, when I enter into a new space, I know that this is not the only way, and I'm like, but I got this side of me that I can't ignore, and I got this other side of me I can't ignore. They clash because you guys don't understand. Everyone looks at me like I'm crazy when I do something or I say something. But it's like, I just decided when I created Aewon Wolf to just bring it all in and just keep showing all my influences as I progress. And I mean, there's times where like you'll hear me do a trap song, which people think is like, you're a trap artist, you can only do trap or whatever. Then you hear me do a love song that's completely old school boom bap R&B style. And it's like, why do I have to do one and not the other? There's songs that I've got Kwaito influence. It's the way I grew up. There's a lot of Kwaito influence in the way I grew up. So it's like those phases are all different types of elements of me, and I don't ignore them.
Do you ever get worried about people not getting your music? Because you're saying you've got so many different elements and influences, and as an artist, naturally you want to say what you want to say without thinking, oh my God, they won't get it.
Yeah.
With you, literally, you just said R&B, boom bap, trap, traditional, but like this, you literally all rounded. Do you ever get worried about people getting your music?
There was a time that I cared, like, and I think that was probably the darkest time for me in terms of like being a musician or a person as a whole. When I started caring, that was like the biggest mistake that I made as a musician, and it was, I think it came with the success of like things working out, and suddenly you're getting like these big deals, you're getting a lot of airplay, you're getting a lot of people following, you're getting these crazy numbers on views, you're getting like reviews from like crazy blogs, and you're getting all this attention, and you're just like asking yourself like, okay, cool, so the numbers are up on this one. Now you start looking at numbers, and you're like, the numbers are up on this one. What did I do that made these numbers like go up?
Yeah, so now you want to repeat the formula.
On? You know what I mean? And you start, but like, it's something that's at the back of my head where I was like thinking about it, and then I say, no, I don't want to repeat the formula. Let me still do me and do something else. But then when you do something else and then the numbers don't match up, and you're suddenly like, is there something wrong with this other side of me? Is there something wrong with me doing this new stuff, or there's something different? Then you start started questioning myself, and then I started like putting pressure on myself and then saying maybe I need to go back to the other thing and push up the numbers again, because like this is meant to be a progression going upwards, not backwards. But then like I realized in doing that, like, well, it took a lot to realize, which is what I try to cover in the letter and the documentary, so people understand, to get to the point where I just like hit like a wall and I said, you know what, that's not me. Not supposed to care about these things. You know, like maybe I should just pull back. Maybe I should just say no to a lot of things. Maybe I should just disappear and go back into a bit of obscurity to find myself again, and like forcefully make myself not care about numbers.
But that is so tricky, because it's very, very tricky, because sometimes as an artist you just want to make music, you know, I get it. But at the same time, that music is supposed to cover your life at some point, because it's not like you go to a restaurant and you are a cashier to earn extra money in the meantime while living your passion. Like, your passion is your income, you know. So it becomes very tricky for you to kind of not care and just keep it pure when you have to get the deals, get the performances, get the radio play. And at what point do you start to hate what you love so much? Like you're saying, you started looking at the numbers and you started becoming something that you don't like becoming. At what point was that? What happened for you to start feeling so frustrated like that?
Well, I try to there's a lot of factors, but I try to narrow it down to like two big factors. Because when I look at the dates, I didn't even realize this till I had to like analyze it and look back and explain it in the documentary I was making, and I was like trying to just understand, because it wasn't like an analysis thing, it just like happened. But it came down to two different things that I think were like the breaking points. Was the passing of my father figure, who was like a second father to me, who was a big influence in my life and throughout my life, and my actual real father having a stroke, and they all happened like months apart from each other. So when he passed away, I literally was probably at the peak of all the hype as Aewon Wolf and everything, and it's like I was about to drop my first album. Like, I was working on my first album at that point. It was like I had big plans for that album, and I had all kinds of like strategies and implementation of that album. And then he passed away. Like, when he passed away, I remember like it was a lot of stuff going on. I had like bookings. I couldn't really mourn with the family. I couldn't like chill with the family because I was doing shows. I was actually out of town. At the actual funeral, I had to leave mid-funeral because I had to do a show. There was commitments I was obligated to, which I couldn't get out of. And I kept trying to justify in my head, like, no, this is more meaningful because I'm helping out. Just whatever contributions I'm making, like, it's rather more important taking care of the family because, you know, like, I help out. So that's a justification I gave myself, and I didn't mourn properly. So things started changing within me. I was just like not enjoying things, like heavily not in spaces. I'd be physically there but not there mentally. Started drinking a little more, started, you know, like things that you don't really appreciate as a person, you don't notice until you're at the end. So maybe I was lucky the fact that when my father got a stroke, that's when the ball dropped. Because when my father got a stroke, I had to leave everything, go back home. He didn't want anyone else to take care of him because he couldn't do anything. He literally was like fighting with people, even though he was like couldn't move. Like had to carry him to the bathroom, like things that were just like, and there's lots of things that I just had to like, then I just turned down shows. I told people like I'm not gonna make it, I'm sorry. Like, turned down interviews, turned down a whole lot of stuff just to take care of him for like, I remember it was like two weeks or so. Then I was eventually able to convince him that to let me get him a nurse. So I got him a nurse to take care of him, help out, and then I started taking up the shows again. But then it was after that I just said, you know what, like, there's a plan that I had in my head of giving back and being myself and doing this, and I'm not enjoying this stuff anymore. Let me just start saying no and turning down things. Let me just start pulling back, because there's so much stuff going on in this industry that I was not liking and I was hating. And I was just like, you know, I don't have to be part of the industry. It just clicked in my head. I was like, I don't have to be here. I can still do what I need to do, but from behind the scenes or just from a different perspective. So I started making plans.
Is there a difference if you are behind the scenes versus if you are in the limelight? And I do know the answer is yes, but I mean, because you are still running in the industry, like
Yeah.
what level of difference is there from removing yourself from the guy in front to being the guy that's then pushing the people forward?
Being the guy behind the scenes is a lot simpler, I think, because you don't have the scrutiny of the public. You don't have the admiration of the public messing up with your head. Like, I'm human. I'm not gonna ever say that, you know, like, I'm perfect. I did a whole song about the fact that I'm not perfect,
Yeah.
and that's what makes me happy, is that I've accepted that I'm not perfect. So it's like, when you have that admiration from the outside, and you have those numbers, and you have all these things, they all stroke your ego, and they like create this little demon inside your brain. Like, they feed that demon that makes you care about the wrong things, that makes you want to be involved with things that are going to make you more admired, or more, you know, like, get bigger numbers. Keep all draws down to numbers. But it's like, those things get you twisted mentally, because you start focusing on the wrong things and not the art. So the art stops being the purpose. Now it's like, can I fit in with the trend and keep pushing the trends, and like keep on being a part of the trends that are popular? And so you lose yourself somewhere. Like, there's no doubt you're going to lose yourself, because the trends can never be always you. So you stop being actually influential. You start just being the influenced, but people think that you are an influencer, but you're not an influencer. You're just looking on the streets at the guy who's actually an influencer that's not popular, and you're saying, I can do what he's doing, but I'm a bigger name and I've got bigger numbers. So if he's popular right now amongst his little group, I can make what he's doing and just make it bigger and just take more credit for it. And it's like, it's a screwed up mentality, because, you know, you stop doing what you want to do.
Do you honestly think that anyone can survive that, can surpass that kind of scenario where the numbers don't get to your head, where you're quotation mark humble and you stay focused regardless of whether you peak or you don't? Do you honestly think it's possible?
Well, I think it's possible. That's why I'm trying. Like, I think it's difficult. I don't think it's easy. There's just a point where you just decide, like, you have to decide whether you really want to be, because what I did with my music and what I did with Aewon Wolf, it was a hard decision, but I said, you know what, I don't want to be the most popular artist. I don't want to fill up necessarily stadiums, because what it takes to fill up stadiums or be the most popular, it takes a lot of effort of trying to stay on trends, trying to stay relevant and be on publications. And honestly, that was not doing it for me. It does it for other people, but me personally as Arnold, it doesn't do it for me, because I'm not willing to be part of a controversy just to stay relevant, or fake a story, or do this or do that that's going to keep me relevant or popping on social media or whatever. It's like, it's just too much effort for me. So I made the decision that, behind the scenes, I know I'm smart enough to make enough money to take care of my needs and my family and if I make music that I want to make, if it's not going to be the most popular because it doesn't have the hype or the extra sauce that's needed to be the most popular, I'd rather have a loyal fan base of 100 than have 100,000 fans that are going to move on to the next guy as soon as I'm not popping on the social medias.
So I'm looking at your letter. There's a part where you say, I had also grown tired of losing people I cared about to industry dynamics and politics. I hated having to be business-minded when all I wanted to make all I wanted was to make music and movies with friends.
Yeah.
I hated having to navigate carefully around egos and being scrutinized by people who carry pain in their hearts and try belittle others to make themselves feel better. There was plenty of poison that came with success that had left me feeling dead inside, resorting to drinking and partying just to feel alive. This led me down a path of self-discovery during my hiatus, allowing me to focus on my mental and physical well-being and just being an all-round better person in a world filled with problems. Losing people in the industry, is it because naturally as your success inclines, there are people that get left behind? And it's debatable whether, the people get left behind because of you or because of them. But I mean, what do you mean by losing people?
When I say losing people, it's sometimes losing people is not necessarily you losing them because you guys fought or had a fallout or whatever. It's like with industry politics and industry dynamics, like I was saying, that thing is you being in the forefront or being always out there in the industry and being seen and is immediately when it comes to like, if you do something and someone associates you with someone else and they know that this person is in a certain way or a certain position because of you, then that person's actions will always be related with you.
Do you have to cut people off?
It's not it's certain people I just pull myself out of, because like if a certain character grows close to another character who I know is not good for me, or I know that I don't want to be around in a certain scene or this, it's like when you stop hanging out with them, when you stop being seen with them, then in their heads they immediately think that, okay, cool, you don't like me anymore, or are you mad because I'm suddenly more successful or something along those lines? And it's all kinds of different scenarios, because sometimes it can be the opposite. Someone's not successful and they had an association with you and you're not paying attention to them as much as you're paying attention to someone else now, and you're trying to help someone else, or you're trying to help, they take it the wrong way and they suddenly like, oh no, because that person's now hot, you're gonna just like give them attention. It's like, no, I'm giving everyone the same amount of attention. It's just maybe they're asking me more from me now because they're in a space where they're in the limelight. And it's like, as soon as, and there's lots of different, people are people, so everyone has their own personality and their egos. But I realized when I was like deep in the industry or in that position, it's just that people decided to just use me as a scapegoat. Like, if something's wrong, where were you? What's wrong? Like, I remember one person even blamed me when a fallout happened with their manager, and I only found out something was wrong was that when their brother comes to me and says, why didn't you say anything to stop this thing with the manager or whatever? Why did you have to, like, as if I was at fault? And I was like, you clearly don't know what was going on in that whole situation, because I wasn't close enough at the time when this guy was at his peak, because I was letting him flourish. I was letting them do them. I'm not trying to like hang on to people that I've helped. Once they flourish, I'm going on to the next person. It's just my nature. I go on to the next person, I concentrate on them. So if they have a manager that screws them over or does something along those lines, I won't know, because I'm not as close to them as I was before when they were still on the come up. So it's not because I'm trying to sabotage your career by keeping telling you to keep that manager. Or I never even said that, but it's like I don't know the dynamics. So like I don't know why people come at me with that mentality, and it just kept on bothering me, kept on irritating me, because it's like I honestly try so hard to help, and then I get involved into politics that I don't want to be involved in.